In this final section of this final chapter, we focus on the classification of rape patterns and cover briefly the treatment of offenders. I am sad, as you can tell, that this is the last video for this class. Since such a wide variety of sexual offenders are involved in rape and sexual assault, several attempts have been made to categorize rapists according to their traits and behavioral motivational patterns. These classification systems are often referred to as a typology. Typologies can be helpful to investigators since they may be used in creating profiles of certain offenders. Typologies may not be helpful in some cases, especially when sex offenders engage in crossover offending, meaning they offend against victims regardless of age or other characteristics. Crossover offending refers to the tendency for some offenders to sexually assault victims representing different ages, gender, and relationships, a pattern characteristic of some serial and opportunity offenders. An opportunity sex offender is one who does not necessarily plan his assault but rather takes the occasion to sexually assault when a suitable victim is present. Depending on the opportunity, they may select male children or young or older women for sexual assault. The Massachusetts Treatment Center, NTC, originally identified 4 major categories of rapists. 1. Displaced aggression. 2. Compensatory. 3. Sexual aggressive. And 4. Impulsive rapists. Displaced aggression rapists are primarily violent and aggressive in their attack, displaying minimum or total absence of sexual feeling. These men use the act of rape to harm, humiliate, and degrade the woman. Your book points out that an offender must demonstrate the following characteristics during the attack in order to be assigned to the displaced aggression category. 1. The presence of a high degree of non-sexualized aggression or rage expressed either through verbal and/or physical assault that clearly exceeds what is necessary to force compliance of the victim. 2. Clear evidence, in verbalization or behavior, of the intent to demean, degrade, or humiliate the victim. 3. No evidence that the aggressive behavior is eroticized or that sexual pleasure is derived from the injurious acts. 4. The injurious acts are not focused on parts of the body that have sexual significance. Compensatory rapists rape in response to an intense sexual arousal initiated by stimuli in the environment, often quite specific stimuli. In their day-to-day lives, compensatory rapists tend to be extremely passive, withdrawn, and socially inept. They are sometimes referred to as the true sex offender. Sexual aggressive rapist demonstrates both sexual and aggressive features in his attack. In order for him to experience sexual arousal, it must be associated with violence and pain, which excite him. This type is also called the sadistic rapist. The impulsive rapist lacks strong sexual or aggressive motivations but commits rape opportunistically, often during another crime, such as robbery or burglary. This type of offender is also known as an exploitative rapist. An example is sexual burglary, where the primary intent is sexual assault or the theft of objects related to a fetish. Other patterns of rapists include the pervasive anger type, the sexual gratification type, and the vindictive offender type. The pervasive anger rapist exhibits intense anger directed toward almost everyone in his life. The sexual gratification rapist is primarily motivated by sexual desire, often driven by persistent sexual or sadistic fantasies that both influence and sustain the assault. These offenders typically display an enduring sexual preoccupation. Lastly, the vindictive offender targets women specifically, with attacks driven by a deep-seated hatred toward them. Figure 12.1 illustrates a 3-path model of sexual offending, which can help investigators identify offenders. This model highlights 3 key personality traits commonly found in sex offenders: sexual preoccupation, antisocial behavior, and a lack of empathy or emotional connection, callous unemotional traits. The final section of this chapter explores treatment options for sex offenders. As noted in the text, many sex offenders are highly resistant to changing their deviant behaviors. While various treatment programs have been attempted, early evaluations were not promising. However, many clinicians now believe that the most effective interventions follow the three core principles of risk, need, and responsivity, R&R. For more details, refer to your textbook. Have a great day.